A man serving life in jail for the murders of a mother and a son over a £400 debt has been charged with the execution of a British expat in Portugal whose body was found a year after he vanished. Joel Eldridge from Bexhill in East Sussex mysteriously disappeared around 6 months after moving to Portugal. His remains were found more than a year later hidden in woodland near the town of Gangland, following a public appeal from his family and detectives from the Surrey and Sussex major crime team. And now, a man who was a British former car salesman already serving a sentence of at least 36 years in prison for a devastating arson attack has been charged with Mr. Eldridge's murder. Jacob Barnard, who's 33, now faces extradition proceedings to Portugal to stand trial for the crime. Barnard and his mate Andrew Milne were caged for a total of 70 years back in May 2021 for setting fire to the home of Gina Ingalls, which she shared with her son Milo. Prosecutors in Portugal have charged the convicted killer and an alleged accomplice named as a 30-year-old Joshua Liam Sherwood with murder and desecrating a body. There was a 20-page report prepared by the Portuguese police force, and it accuses Barnard of hitting his alleged victim's head with an axe after attacking him with a stun gun and stabbing him and shooting him. And it's claimed that Mr. Eldridge was killed in a brutal execution by his alleged killers, and they had pre-planned it because they feared he was about to return to the UK and grass them up to police for crimes being committed abroad. Barnard had already been jailed previously for 8 years in Portugal before his UK murder trial for drug trafficking and possession of an offensive weapon. The weapons relate to the seizure of a stun gun, a machete and a gun said to be used in Mr. Eldridge's murder before his remains were found. The Portuguese prosecution has stated that his body was dumped in a nearby grave on shrubland dug by the suspects days earlier and burning his body. After a clean-up of the murder scene in a village, it's claimed his alleged killers crossed Portugal's border with Spain and laid a false trail by leaving Mr. Eldridge's wallet, mobile phone and passport near a city of Badajoz, around 2.5 hours drive from where his body was eventually found. This document released by the Portuguese police states that for reasons related to Joel Eldridge's wish to return to the UK and fearing he would cooperate with police there and report the drug trafficking and activity in Portugal, Jacob Barnard and Joshua Sherwood hatched a plan to kill him. We here at the Portuguese prosecution accuse the two men of executing that plan on the date of between July the 17th and the 28th at around 4 p.m. in the living room of Mr. Joshua Sherwood's home in Macieira. They detail how the murder victim escaped the brunt of the alleged stun gun attack by Barnard with his quick reactions before being stabbed in the leg and shot at least 3 times as he tried to escape. They said, not satisfied with his actions, the suspect Jacob Barnard approached Joel Eldridge armed with an axe as he lay on the ground and struck him a number of times around the head. Prosecutor said he only stopped when he was tired and convinced he was dead, as that was his intention. The head injuries suffered by Joel as a result of the axe attack were the direct cause of his death. Barnard is expected to be extradited for this Portuguese murder trial in the coming months. The Portuguese police say that the walls and ceilings of the room where Joel was killed had to be repainted after murder and one of the sofas removed. Although Sherwood was not accused of physically attacking Mr. Eldridge, it's believed that they mutually agreed to kill their alleged victim. It says they showed themselves to be insensitive to the value of human life, knowing their conduct was especially perverse as it was designed to cover up their practice of drug trafficking. The date for the pair's trial has not been set yet, and they're expected to face prison sentences of around 25 years if they're convicted of the 2 crimes. So Mr. Eldridge last contacted his family in mid-July 2018. He wished somebody happy birthday, and then he told them that he was travelling to Portugal to work on a house near the university city of Coimbra. His disappearance was reported to Sussex police in late 2018, and a public and media appeal was issued at the end of that month. At the time, Detective Chief Inspector Chris Friday of the Surrey and Sussex Major Crime Team said, after the discovery of his body, our inquiries supporting those of the Portuguese investigators gave us cause to believe that Joel had come to harm at the hand of others whilst in Portugal. So as I said, Jacob Barnard, he was found guilty of the murders of her mum and her younger son over her partner's debts. So it was Andrew Milne and Jacob Barnard. They torched a property in Eastbourne with a petrol can and a cigarette lighter. Gina Ingalls, as I said, was 34, and her son Milo was just aged 4 were killed inside the house while her partner Toby Jarrett escaped via a window with burns all over his body. Brighton Crown Court heard how the drugs kingpin Jacob Barnard wanted to send a message to the drugs world over unpaid debts. So along with Andrew Milne, he went to the house and lit the flames in the early hours of the 10th of July 2018. After a 6-week trial, both of the men were found guilty of the murder of Miss Ingalls and Milo and the attempted murder of Mr. Jarrett. As the verdict was read out, Barnard claimed he was being framed but was told to be quiet by the judge. There was a third man, John Tabakis, said he was found guilty of assisting an offender. The QC prosecuting at the time, Kate Lumsden, told the court Mr. Jarrett owed his dealer, John Sanders, £400, who in turn owed £1,800 to topman Barnard, who ran the drugs operation from Portugal. The QC said it was a particular drug debt and a general message sent out to the wider drug community: don't mess with Barnard. Al Barnard was found in possession of drugs and weapons where he lived in Portugal and he was convicted. Portuguese police found a debtors list which showed how Sanders had owed him cash. Milne acted as an enforcer for Barnard. It was claimed that Milne offered a former neighbour to work alongside him as a drug collector. The QC said he was offered work to go into a flat in Eastbourne, force their way in, restrain anyone present and brand them, i.e. cut the debtor with a knife. Miss Lumsden QC said the reason for doing this job was that it was just some junkie in Eastbourne who owed a mate in Portugal money. So just want to say rest in peace to all the victims and my condolences go out to their families. So Jacob Barnard got 36 years and Andrew Milne got 34 years after they were both found guilty of 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder following a 6-week trial at Brighton Crown Court. So at the times of the death, the senior investigating officer, Gordon Denslow, said after they were caged, this was a carefully planned, cowardly but horrific attack carried out by Barnard and Milne in the middle of the night against a defenceless family. The sentencing judge, Mrs. Justice Philippa Whipple, said in court the killers had given no warning, adding this was a crime under cover of darkness, a crime of stealth and cowardice. They lit the fire and then disappeared into the night. The victims must have been terrified in their last moments as smoke and fire engulfed them. The parents of Gina said in a statement read out in court after the pair were convicted, I still close my eyes and imagine Gina waking to find the house on fire. Today, even as justice is done, it just doesn't really change a thing for us. It doesn't bring back Gina or Milo. Absolute madness, guys. Not only has this man taken 2 lives here, but he's alleged to have taken a life over in Portugal as well, because his drugs operation was going to be uncovered. Absolute madness. It's your boy GC. Keep it locked, keep it real.